result we have there on the slide show that there is no relationship between the mode of delivery and bacterial growth yield. Next slide, please. Now our discussion. Now, first thing we notice very important there is that the microbial growth of flora of the deliveries, there is no difference between them. That is, whether babies were born through SVD or through CS, the same kind of microorganisms were isolated. As you can see in our result, there are four distinct organisms. That is E. coli, staph, Kleb, and P. aeruginosa. So both modes of delivery yielded the same type of microorganism. However, in the SVD group, the E. coli was the most isolated organism. And for SVD, the risk factors peculiar to SVD, babies born through SVD, is that maternal factors is a risk factor for them. And it's very important to look at this. Maternal factors in form of ingestion of contaminated food before labor or childbirth. Now, E. coli is an organism that is found in the GIT of healthy human beings where they reside. They live harmlessly in our gastrointestinal tracts. In fact, they help in food digestion. But the particular strain of GIT of E. coli is pathogenic if it gets into the GIT by injection. And E. coli mainly is transmitted mainly by injection when you eat a food that's contaminated, because it's found in the environment, it's found in contaminated food and in contaminated water. So if somebody or if a mother eats a food that is contaminated just before labor, now, and the pathogenic is the pathogenic type, because the pathogenic type is is the one that causes cholera, the one we know, cholera particularly. So if it gets to the system of a mother about to deliver a baby by any means, either by injection, and it goes out through the stool as it's passed out, now you know that the mother's anus lies close to the urethra. So the bacteria may have the chance to easy access into the bladder, where most of the urinary tract infection begins to occur. Now, this disposes the mother also to developing genitourinary tract infection. So, if by any chance the baby is being delivered at this moment, it's possible that this baby eyes may come across some of these isolates, these bacteria, and they acquire the bacteria in its surface, and could be the reason why we have higher isolation of E. coli by babies born through SVD. Now, from other studies also say that infant factors like preterm, low birth weight, and low Apgar score could be factors in babies born through SVD acquiring microorganisms in their eyes. Preterm birth, low birth weight, because these babies have low immune system, as well as also we know that equally mothers who are pregnant and neonates have low or reduced immune system. So they're at risk of getting this infection, these microorganisms, compared to other healthy babies. Now, another thing is the procedural factors. Procedural factors like cervical sacrilege, that has to do with mothers maybe who are battling having miscarriage, and the doctors have to lock up the cervix. And the procedure to lock up the cervix, which is cervical sacrilege, may create introduction of microorganisms into the birth canal, of which makes the baby to be at risk when coming out. And amniocentesis. Amniocentesis, the procedure also endangers the baby from having, okay, thank you. Another one is the prolonged labor. Prolonged labor also, as we said earlier on, when a mother goes into prolonged labor, there is always constant digital examination of the cervix to check for dilatation. And this process, if care is not taken by the caring attendant, may equally contaminate the birth canal, thereby exposing the baby to acquiring microorganisms. Next slide, please. Okay. Premature rupture of amniotic sac and prolonged labor, I've mentioned them earlier on. So let's go to the CS group. Now, for the CS group, You know that as babies born through CS do not come into contact with the mother's birth canal. So the risk factors for this group is the presence of bacteria in the atmosphere and the level of care provided by the hospital staff. Now, in the studies that we conducted, staff, please go back to the previous slide, please. Previous. In the studies that we conducted, we found that the Staph aureus was mostly isolated from the CS group compared to the SVD group where we have E. coli. And why is this so? Studies by some authors in the past, Wazwani et al., have discovered that there's a relationship between having a relationship between mode of delivery and also maternal factors. Maternal factors in babies that are born through CS in having bacterial isolates in their eyes. Staph aureus, we know, is a gram-positive bacteria, non-motile, and is transmitted mainly through contact with contaminated objects or sharing contaminated objects with somebody. And studies have equally shown that it's mainly found around the air in crowded areas or in high hand-touched areas like doorknobs and in areas like hospitals and in academic setting. So based on that, authors have come to the conclusion that it is likely that babies born through CS do acquire this Staph aureus because hospitals and academic areas are high hand-touched areas, the doors, and also being that Staph aureus are found in the air, at all over of our body, our skin, in the groin, in the nose, in the armpits, also found in air, that it's possible also that the air around the maternity area also may have been contaminated too, and also by level of manipulation of hands of this Staph. So that could be the reason how the babies that were born through CS acquired Staph aureus as the main dominant microorganism in their eyes. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Also, we found also that there's no relationship between mode of delivery and growth yield, although babies born through SVD had more resistance. They had more resistance to antibiotics because, go back to the next slide, please.
Please round up.
Okay. All right. And also, we found that resistant to antibiotics occur mostly among SVD babies than those born CS. Why this happened, we think, is that, one, in the studies, there are more population, the population of SVD babies is higher than the CS babies. And also, events that happens in babies born through SVD, whereby there may be prolonged labor, maybe there may be premature rupture of amniotic membrane, and other events may have caused the babies here to have more resistance compared to babies of CS. And also, we know that resistance to antibiotics is triggered by presence of antibiotics to the organisms. And so when organisms are sensitized, they begin to develop resistance trend. And it is a survival mechanism for them. And they continue multiplying even in the culture state, transmitting the resistant gene until they become the dominant population. So we feel that together with the fact that there are more number of babies of SVD compared to ACS, and that is the trend in other studies. The number of babies in the SVD are always greater than the babies of the CS. So because of that, it's most likely that we may notice more resistance to antibiotics in SVD babies than CS babies. Finally, we equally say that in isolates of sensitive to, okay, let me go to conclusion. So with our conclusion, we saw that there's no relationship between mode of delivery and growth yield. And also, resistant to antibiotics were higher in SVD babies than in the CS group. What it means that babies born through SVD are much more liable to developing neonatal conjunctivitis, since most of them, the isolates from them, are more resistant to antibiotics compared to those of CS. So, go ahead. Next slide, please. So we recommend that there should be improved sanitary condition in our hospitals, and particularly in our labor wards and maternity theaters, in form of provision of autoclaves, disinfectants, hand gloves, and also we should ensure, or hospital manager should ensure there's constant supply of water and clean water and electricity. And there'll be constant training and retraining of matrons and nurses in the evolving trends in neonatal care. When this is done, it will help to break hospital transmission of infection. We also recommend further studies in form of a randomized control trial in order to rule out any other extraneous factors that could have given rise to this, except what we have discovered. Thank you. Next slide. Okay, this is some of our references. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that wonderful presentation. Please, let's give him a round of applause. So, we are about to start our AGM. So, if you are okay, they can't even hear me. We're about to start our AGM, but before we do that, we'll just take a final product presentation from Tabade Pharmacy. Please, can they just come and make a brief presentation in the next 15 minutes? And then our AGM is about to start. The President and the National Executive Council members are all prepared at the back. Thank you.
Afternoon, distinguished colleagues. We'll stand on existing protocol. We're from Tabade and Optomed is a joint partnership for the exhibition this year. It's my colleague Yuso from Finland. They make Optomed camera. So it will take the first part of the presentation. So next slide, please.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I would say a couple of brief words about the Optomed first. So my name is Juuso Eriksson, and I work at a Finnish company called Optomed. And basically what we are offering portable fundus cameras and AI solutions and different screening software such as telemedicine and diabetic retinopathy screening softwares. And next slide, please. So if I be really brief about the company, so Finnish company established in 2004, and we were the first ones who actually make the production a handheld fundus camera. So basically we generate the market in the past, and we have been developing our cameras ever since, and nowadays we are the global market leader in portable fundus cameras. We also have a couple of OEM customers, which basically means that we are manufacturing, such as Topcon, Zeiss, and Volk. We are manufacturing their portable cameras as well. We have a couple of different countries. We have offices. We have in Finland, and we have also one subsidiary in China and one in US as well. And we are basically covering 60 different countries with local distributors. So we have around 55 distributors all over the world right now. Next slide, please. So this is a forecast which, by the IDF Diabetes Atlas, and basically in 2045 there's going to be over 150 million diabetics who are in the rural areas, and that means that we really need to have portable cameras to go to the rural areas and do the diabetic retinopathy screening for all the diabetics. Next slide, please. So basically what our Optomed's mission is, has been since the beginning, to make the screening affordable and easy to everybody, so that we can screen everybody who has a diabetic retinopathy and other potential eye diseases. Next slide, please. So our main flagship product is Optomed Aurora IQ. It's a portable camera. It weighs a little bit over 1 kilo, so it's really light. It has the 50-degree field of view. Excuse me. Oh, it's a non-mydriatic as well. and we have tried to make it as automatic as possible, even that it's a handheld camera. So we have an auto focus there, auto brightness basically, so that you don't have to do anything else in settings for the camera except to choose the fixation target, which basically means that do you want to have a macula-centric image, disc-centric image, or some other part of the eye, the image. We have also, there's an optional AI, which we can integrate directly to the camera. And that basically means that when you take a couple of photos, the camera connects to the cloud server, AI server, and you will get, in less than a minute, you will get the result of AI directly to the camera. At this point, we have diabetic retinopathy there, but in the near future, we will also have other eye diseases what the AI will detect. Next, please. And because I thought it's a portable camera, we have also a carry-on case, which comes with every camera, so you can easily have the whole package with you wherever you need to go. It doesn't take too much space, it doesn't weigh that much, so you can easily take it on and carry on it wherever the screening is needed. Next slide. And this is basically the parts of the camera. So we have the camera part and the retinal part, which you take the fundus images. But beside of that, we also have an anterior model, which helps you to take images in front of the eye or the surface of the eye if it's needed. Also, the camera comes with two batteries and a recharging cradle, which you can also connect to the computer. So you have different options to use the camera. Next slide. And also the camera, you can get the images what you have taken the camera, you can get it to the computer easily by using the USB cable, or also there is a possibility to use the Wi-Fi. So with the Wi-Fi connection, when you take the images, it will automatically, after the image is taken, transfer to the computer without you have to do anything about it. So it's easy to also store images and from there to send the images if it's needed to somewhere else. Next slide. Also, we have various different softwares, which we are called the Avenue family. So we have basically, we have a telemedicine or teleophthalmology solutions. We have a diabetic retinopathy screening solutions. If your hospital already has some hospital information systems or PAC servers, we have a solution which can transfer all the images directly to the PAC server. Or if you want to have the patient or work list to the camera, we can pull those there as well. So the camera can easily be used in any different hospital information systems or PAC servers what you might already have. Next slide, please. So we have quite a lot of success stories for different our customers all over the world, but I found one success story which is from Nigeria, so I want to tell it a little bit about for you as well. You can find all of these success stories in our website, www.optomed.com. Next slide, please. Okay, so here we have Dr. Adewoye, and he has been using our portable Aurora handheld camera for his teaching hospital for a while now, and he has been doing a study on how to use portable cameras in the low-cost diabetic retinopathy screening environments. And he has been loving our camera because it's portable, you can take it easily where you ever want. It's user-friendly, so it's really easy to use. The learning curve is really small, so you can, in 1 hour training or less, you already know how the camera works and how to take quality pictures. And also he has been loved our camera because you don't need to have electricity all the time. So basically there's 2 batteries, so you can take those and take multiple hours of images without needing any extra electricity. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Juuso. So I'm going to take the remaining part of the presentation. We have also 5 other products, starting with BioDrop MD, preservative-free eye drops for dry eyes. Each eye drop is for different severity of dry eyes. Next slide, please. So that's the product range of the product, and that's how the packaging looks. Next slide. So next slide. So BioDrop MD, this is the base model, is sodium hyaluronate only. Like I said, it's preservative-free, and they maintain sterility for 6 months after opening. Sodium hyaluronate, as we know, is present in the body, and if you check out diseased ocular cells. They are at low quantity, so introducing them into the ocular environment leads to corneal healing and stability of the tear film. Next slide, please. So this is BioDrop MD Plus. Next slide. BioDrop MD Plus has sodium hyaluronate with trehalose. Trehalose is quite a new ingredient. It's only made by 2 companies globally. The trehalose is a disaccharide osmoprotectant and is involved in all the phases of the vicious circle of dry eye syndrome. I will just show you a few slides on this. So you can see at every place, so tear film instability, tear film hyperosmolality, ocular surface damage, and neurogenic inflammation. So this product is mainly targeted for severe dry eye syndrome. Typical example of patients are glaucoma patients, multiple eye drops, preserved eye drops, 2 to 3 most of the time. You can see the risk of severity in ocular surface is increasing with the number of therapy they're on, and you need to provide adequate treatment for these patients. You use BioDrop MD Plus. Next slide. So this is just another pictorial description of what trehalose does. This is the ocular surface cell. It's working, the protein refolding, it's preventing oxidative stress. It's also causing autophagy, using autophagosome. So with autophagy, it's clearing out dead cells and increasing renewal and reducing inflammation. Next slide, please. Okay, BioDrop MD spray. Next slide. This has sodium hyaluronate with sea buckthorn oil. So sea buckthorn oil grows in the Nordic area, the temperate area. It's a seed, and it has all the omega fatty acids. One of the few plant food sources that has that. It has omega-3, 6, 7, and 9. So it's very good for dry eyes. You spray it on your closed eyelids, and they slide down over time as you're blinking. When it gets into the eyeball, your blinking action now disperses over the cornea. And like I'd mentioned earlier, they're all preservative-free, and they all maintain sterility for 6 months. So this is just a picture of the application. Next slide, please. Oh, and that's sea buckthorn oil for people that might not know about it. So these are 3 other products. I'm just going to rush through it. Contact lens solution, BioSoak, all in one. We have contact lens hygiene soap, and also for washing spectacle lenses. And we have this lens cleaner. Next slide. Okay, this supplements Visio Balance Opti for adults and Visio Balance Junior for children. They're all compliant with the REDS 2 study. Nothing much to add for the next slide. Next slide. So this is the Visio Balance Junior. It's chewable, strawberry flavored, sugar-free. It can be used from 3 years and above. 3 to 12-year-olds, we use 1 tablet. 12 years and above, we use 2 tablets. So with 60 tablets in there, you are getting 2 months supply for 3 to 12-year-old and 1 month supply for a 12-year-old and above. Next slide. Next slide. Oh, well, okay. These are the prices. But you can also visit our stand. We're at SB 12A, and we can continue the discussion there. Thank you very much. Any questions? It's a chance for that. Any questions? No? Question? Okay. Yes, yes. The fundus camera can be linked. It has a USB code that comes with it, so you can link it via wire, or you can transfer the images wirelessly as well. So, and if you also have a hospital software, there's a software avenue that can transmit the images to your PACS server. Okay. Any other question?
Yeah, one here, please. Thank you for the beautiful presentation.
Thank you, ma'am.
The Optomed is very interesting.
Thank you.
I'm seeing the price list, but I'm not seeing the price of the Optomed.
It's at the top, 4.899150.
Okay.
4.8 at the conference, if
You
we can agree
forgot to
and
put only.
get the money. Oh, yes, only. Any other questions, please? Okay. Okay, no questions. Okay, with the absence of questions, we'll hand over to the next. Thank you very much. Please visit our stand, SB12A. Thank you.
For our AGM, it's going to be a very brief AGM. Thank God it's not an election year. So kindly be patient. Let's discuss our future together.
Dear delegates, the AGM will be commencing in the next 2 minutes. We call on everybody outside to come in. The AGM is about to start. All ESCO members outside should also come in. We want to make this as fast as possible. The time is fast spent. Take this one. Please, let's display the agenda for the AGM on the podium. Please have it display on the projector, please, the agenda for the AGM.